Hi kids, what's up? This is Mrs. Merlyn Albert, the academic coordinator from SK Public School, bringing you the English lesson from the textbook The First Flight, NCERT based. Before I begin, I would be failing in my duties if I don't thank the managing director of the SATYAM TV channel, Mr. Ashok Patil, and the administrator, Mr. Anil Patil, and of course our chairman, Mr. C.R. Shetty, our secretary, Mr. Raju Pattan Shetty, and all the members of the board for having given me the chance to put forth the first poem of the textbook, The First Flight. Before I begin, I would like to give a small introductory note about myself. This is Mrs. Merlyn Albert. I have done my master's degree in arts and I have done my MPhil and B.Ed. I have put in almost 25 years of experience in most reputed schools like Sanjay Godavat, Kendriya Vidyalaya, and also many residential schools in district of Kolhapur. With this, I would like to begin the first poem, The Dust of Snow by Robert Frost. A simple song of a bird, the pleasant morning sun walk, and the baby smile. It is so heartening to see and it brings so much joy to all of us. Same thing holds with the poem The Dust of Snow by Robert Frost, and here I begin. The way a crow shook down on the dust of snow from a hemlock tree has given my heart a change of mood and saved some part of the day I had rued. Once again, I would like to repeat the poem written by Robert Frost. The way a crow shook down on me the dust of snow from the hemlock tree has given my heart a change of mood and saved some part of a day I had rued. Before I begin, I would like to talk about the poet who needs no introduction. He was the romantic poet. The meaning of romantic poet means he did not fall in love, but the history of English literature reveals that after Augustan age, there came a romantic period. Augustan age revolved around the high-class people with the elite gathering with the most stylized form of writing which common people could not understand. But Robert Frost thought of reaching to the masses, right from the monarch to the beggar. His poems are quite crystal clear and simple as ever. Now coming to Robert Frost, he was born in 1824. Robert Frost was born in 1874 in San Francisco, and he was an American poet and much admired for his depiction of rural life. His realistic poems portrayed ordinary people in everyday life situations. His first poem, My Butterfly, gave him a status of professional poet. He was nominated for the Nobel Prize in Literature 31 times. That's right, 31 times, and his famous work include Fire and Ice, Road Not Taken, Stopping by Woods, On a Snowy Evening, Lovely Showers, West Running Brook. And most famous plays of his are A Way Out, The Cows in the Corn, Mask, and so on and so forth. Now let's come to the poem The Dust of Snow, written by Robert Frost. Though it looks simple, but there's lot of hidden deeper meaning in it. We need to comprehend and understand. Though it is simple, there's so much philosophy involved in it, children. And I would like to read line by line and explain to you. The way a crow shook down on me the dust of snow from hemlock tree. The way, now we don't know exactly why the poet was standing under the hemlock tree and what made him to stand and what was his mood, it's unknown. All we know is the poet was standing under the hemlock tree and the crow was sitting on the hemlock tree, and it was a snowy day, and the crow, what did it do? It shook and it brought the snowflakes down on Arthur's head. And for your kind information, the crow and hemlock both stand for negative elements. Crow is an ugly bird. Crow brings bad luck. Crow is called a bad omen. Whereas compared to crow, again hemlock tree, it's a tree of poison which is too poisonous and noted for toxicity. Now this hemlock and crow, though they act as negative elements, though they are symbols of negativism, but still the poet took the positive thing from it. What is that positive thing? When the poet was totally depressed and he was about to give up, immediately he could see the snowdrops falling on his head, and that made his passive attitude, depressed mood into a positive one. The cool drops of snow brought a kind of hope in the poet, and he said, crow and hemlock, though they are the symbols of negativism, but still they bring a message that you have got a long way to go, don't stop and don't be gripped with negativism. Once again, the way a crow shook down on me, the past tense of shake is shook. Crow shook, probably it flew away and it left a kind of drops of snow, snowflakes on the author's head, and it brought a great positivism in him, and he thought, let me not be depressed, there's a long way to go and I would like to lead a life of positivity. Hemlock tree, as I told you, it stands for poison. It stands for toxicity, but still hemlock acted and gave shelter to the poet, and that was the Renaissance. The change in his heart was he led to positivity. Now let's come to the second stanza of the poem. Has given my heart a change of mood and saved some part of a day I had rued. First stanza, we talk about pessimism. The poet is talking about pessimism. The symbols denoted are crow and the hemlock tree. Hemlock tree stands for poisonous things, and crow stands for all the unlucky things, and a very ugly bird. And nowhere in English literature, when you try to talk about birds, they talked about nightingale, they talked about cuckoo, they talked about parrot, they talked about so many birds. But hardly the writers, the poets use the bird crow. But here the crow is used, though it stands for the negative symbol, but still it's giving a positive hope on the poet's mind, saying that it gave me a kind of positivity and to move towards positivity, from negativism to positivity, from pessimism to optimism. Now second stanza talks about the positivity. Has given my heart. The poet says that it has given his heart a change of mood. The poet changes his mood and he moves towards the positive side of life, and saved some part of a day I had rued. I was full of regrets. I was deep in despair. I was gripped with negative ideas, but still the poet gave us a hope, saying that I changed my mood when the crow shook the snowflakes on my head. It took me from positivity and negativity is overcome, and it took him to positivity. And now, children, every poet, every writer, as doctor, he has some devices in his hand like stethoscope, and he has got thermometer, and he has got so many devices to make his profession very much easy. Now coming to the gardener, he has got spade, he has got a water can, and so on and so forth. But here the writers have got devices. Why literary devices are used? Literary devices are used to bring in more of interest in reading and to make the meaning more crystal clear. Now let's see what are the devices used by the poet while writing this poem. Now you have heard to my explanation that Robert Frost was crystal clear in explaining that we have to forgo the bad things, the negativity, and move on to positivity, from pessimism to optimism. And now let us deal with the literary devices used by the great poet Robert Frost. Now let us see what are the literary devices used by Robert Frost. First we'll deal with rhyme scheme. Now what is a rhyme scheme? Rhyme scheme means at the end of each line in the poem, it has rhyming words. For example, the way a crow shook down on me the dust of snow from a hemlock tree. Crow, let us take it as A. Does crow go with me? No. So it should be B. Does snow go with tree? No. But crow goes with snow. So it is A. And me goes with tree. It is B. Now let's look at the second stanza of the poem. Heart and mood has given my heart a change of mood and saved some part of day I had rued. Does heart go with mood? Definitely not. So again let us give it as A, then let us give mood as B. Heart and part is again the same rhyming word, so it is A, and mood and rude is same, so it is B. Now let us look at the rhyme scheme. Crow, snow, me, tree, heart, part, mood, rude. So the rhyme scheme of the poem is A, B and A, B. Now, why do poets use rhyme scheme? In order to give a kind of rhythmic effect. Now let's move on to the next literary device, that is enjambment. What is enjambment? Enjambment means, here you see children, the way a crow shook down on me the dust of snow from a hemlock tree has given my heart a change of mood and saved some part of day I had rued. If you look at the whole poem in your textbook, you don't find not a single punctuation mark till the word rude. That means the poet is continuing his flow of thoughts line by line without giving a break, without giving a pause, and such lines are called enjambment. Enjambment means no punctuation marks in between. Third one, let us go to the next literary device, that is alliteration. What is alliteration? Alliteration means repetition of consonant sounds. repetition of consonant sounds. Now all of you know, children, in English alphabetical family we have got 26 letters. Out of that 21 are consonants and 5 are vowels. Now I am talking about 21 consonants, but all 21 consonants are not used. But in a single line like this, has given my heart, her and her sound is repeated. The repetition of consonant sound is called alliteration. I repeat, the repetition of consonant sound is called alliteration. Now fourth one we are going with assonance. What is assonance? Now I have already talked to you all that in English alphabetical family there are 26 letters, 21 are consonants and 5 are vowels. And the repetition of vowel sound is called assonance. What's the meaning of assonance? The repetition of vowel sound is called assonance. For example, shook down on me. Shook down on me. The O sound in this line, shook down on me, O sound is vowel sound, and repetition of vowel sound is called assonance. I hope things are very clear. Imagine what a talented poet is. In a small poem of 8 lines, he has almost used 4 literary devices. They are rhyme scheme, enjambment, alliteration and assonance. I hope these literary devices are clear. Now let us divide this poem into 3 main points, that is critical analysis. Many critics said that though the poem is simple but the meaning is so complicated. But I don't think, children, after listening to the whole poem, you will not feel that it is difficult. Robert Frost said that nothing is permanent, neither joy nor sorrow. First he began with a very moody type of atmosphere. Later on it changed into happiness. It gave him a hope to live in a better way. And this is what the poet means, that nothing is permanent and neither joy nor sorrow. Secondly, the poet, though he has portrayed crow and hemlock tree as the most negative terms, but crow and hemlock tree acted as the positive terms for the poet. Though he was standing under the tree, but still he could get the cool breeze, the cool flavors of snow on his body, and he questioned himself, what am I waiting for? Why am I wasting time? Let's start my day with the positivity and with no regrets. Immediately he changed the mood. And what can be the message? The message given by the poet is bad situation is never permanent, and whom we think bad are never bad, and appearances are deceptive, and let's move on with the good and bad people, and it will have its own future. Now children, in the board exam, I as an evaluator, twice I went for the corrections, but when we interviewed the highest scorer, the child said, I wrote on my own. The evaluator does not want to read what is said by the poet. He would like to read what you have written, and I would like to tell you that add your own ideas and give a good finishing touch with literary devices. Suppose if you are asked literary devices, you can say that the poet, in a small poem of 4 lines, he has used 4 literary devices, and they are rhyme scheme, enjambment, alliteration, and assonance. With this, I end and I wish you all the best. In the lines of Robert Frost, the woods are lovely, dark and deep. I have got miles to go before I sleep. I have got miles to go before I sleep. Now, for example, if I relate this poem to the current situation, you may feel that this COVID-19 pandemic atmosphere is killing you at home. But let us take it in the right way, that it has given rise to self-study, and self-study is the best study. And as it is rightly said, God helps those who help themselves. We are there, you need not worry, the time is not lost. All the experts would be coming to Satyam studio and they would be rendering you the best of help with a positive gesture of our managing director, Sri Ashok Patil sir, and the whole team of Satyam Group, who are so cordial and cooperating in arranging an English class with you all today. Next, before I meet, God be with you till we meet again. Bye. Have a great study time. All the best.
ವೀಕ್ಷಕರೇ, ನಮ್ಮ ಸತ್ಯಂ ವಾಹಿನಿಯ ಪ್ರತಿದಿನದ ಅಪ್ಡೇಟ್ ಮಾಹಿತಿಯನ್ನ ತಿಳಿದುಕೊಳ್ಳಲು ಸತ್ಯಂ ಟಿವಿ ಕನ್ನಡ ಯೂಟ್ಯೂಬ್ ಚಾನೆಲ್ಗೆ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಕ್ರೈಬ್ ಆಗಿ ಹಾಗೂ ಬೆಲ್ ಐಕಾನ್ ಅನ್ನು ಕ್ಲಿಕ್ ಮಾಡಿ.